what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and I am ridiculously excited to be here virtually with Hither Mann. And Hither Mann is an amazing person. She is a self-made millionaire, so always good to be on the call with self-made millionaires. And she became a self-made millionaire by age 25, which is just incredible. Absolute expert, the queen of trading. She's also done property. She runs the Fortune Academy. Massive, massive heart. Loves to give back and teach people. You see, here's the thing. Most rich people hide away. So it's great to see when people share and teach what they do, so publicly and openly. So Hither, great to have you on the call. How are you doing?
Thank you, Samuel. That is such an exciting intro. So I appreciate your energy. You're great. Honestly, I'm honored to be here. And I love what you do and I like your story. So it's really quite fun to have this conversation and see what value I can bring to your amazing audience that you have.
That's great. So listen, I mean, my audience tend to be around the same kind of age as me. So I'm 29. So I get a lot of people who are kind of like 25, 30 years old watching my channel. The fact that you became a multi-millionaire by age 25 is incredible. So just on that note alone, but I know you've gone on to do crazy other things since then. Tell me a little bit about your background, because I know you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth. So talk to me a little bit about your background, and then I want to unravel how you became so successful at such a young age.
Thank you. So my background, similar to yourself, I guess, was no money in the family. In fact, I remember at the age of 9, I grew up in Kenya, by the way, and then I moved. My family immigrated to England. So pretty much immigrant kind of story, and it was very similar childhood for many people that I've come across who grew up with no money. It can go two ways. Either you just think, yeah, money is horrible and I never want it, or it goes the other way and you get obsessed with, I need to make money because I'm going to fix these problems my parents are arguing about. So I grew up with a lot of family arguments, parents just at each other because they were just unhappy, and I wanted to just make things better, I guess, as a young person. Bit naive, obviously. I just thought money is everything. Of course it's not, but it definitely helps bring in more options. And I just became, my whole focus in life became, right, let's do whatever it takes to make money and be super wealthy. I didn't know how, but I was just going to be wealthy. I knew that for sure.
Yeah. So right from a young age, you had this desire to want to make money. Didn't you start your first business at 9?
No, well, at 9 years old, I was actually an academic. I don't think I actually had an official business as such, but I grew up, my dad was the kind of guy that said, if you want to be wealthy, because he was just a traditional thinking guy, and he said, you just need to be into education. Like, you need to ace your grades. And I never realized education was, I wasn't into it. Became an academic because I thought that was how you make money. But then I realized, okay, none of this stuff is actually teaching me how to make proper money. I got a career, university and whatever, but it wasn't the millionaire life until I started property at 2004 onwards. That's when things started changing.
See, the thing is that most traditional education will teach you how to get a job.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I got exactly that type of thing. So I think education is great. I'm not telling anyone never to do education. I went into the medical field. So obviously we need doctors, opticians, pharmacists, whatever. And that was me. So I was an optician, and obviously you need education for that. But if you had a burning ambition to be like this business person, to have lots of money, it's not going to come from a traditional field like that. Not fast anyway. I mean, not by the age of 25. I don't know many multi-millionaire medics, doctors. I mean, yeah, it's not heard of. Whereas business people, I feel if I started business at the age of 16, I wish I knew nothing. And this is why I love education, providers like yourself. And that's why I created Fortune Academy. Because if I heard stuff like that at a younger age, I would have probably taken property more seriously younger. I would have started doing financial trading. I would have done stuff that I could have, that I knew nothing about till my 20s, so.
Yeah. Interesting as well that property was your first sort of proper business where you started making money, and then you transitioned into trading, which we'll get onto. And I'm really interested in, unraveling that and finding out more about that and how that works. When was the first time that you really started making money as an entrepreneur? Because you went down the traditional education route, but when did you first sort of think, man, I'm making money in property or as an entrepreneur? When did that kind of happen?
I think the big money at about 21 onwards, because that's when I started looking at properties and got into property networking groups. I think I'm quite late. You know, honestly, I come across young people and they're amazing. I mean, you probably started younger, but I don't think I particularly started that young. But I think in a 3-year period, you can turn your life around massively if you're 100% focused, and that was me. I started earning money I started paying for bills in the family household from 16. So I had like really good jobs and stuff. I used to have like a 40-year-old person's job, and that 9-to-5 ethic actually taught me, okay, this stuff I don't want to have a 9-to-5. So me working really hard, I had no school holidays, I had none of that. So a lot of young millennials, as we know, I feel a little lazy. Like they just kind of feel like everything should be just easy on their fingertips with something online, and they don't have that hard work ethic. And I used to get out there, no school holidays, never went on any kind of, I never had going to friends' houses and stuff like that. I was a bit of a recluse, but I made money. And that was from as young as I could legally start, you know, getting an income in the UK. So that was my story. But I started making big money when I started going to property networking groups, brand new concept to me, never knew anything about it. I met people when I was 21, 22, I started meeting people that were 40 plus. Not many people your age were there, I'll be honest. There was probably a handful of like young 20-year-olds, but most of them were much older. And that's the kind of people I learned from. So that was good. And that's what I feel is so needed in this world now. We need more people who constantly share knowledge about how to make money for young people. Because I just feel like that I didn't have that.
I was going to ask you what year that was, but then I figured that would be a rude question because I'm trying.
No, I'm okay. I'm open with age. I'm 38 now, so much older than you, nearly 10 years older. I was born in 1982. So 2004 is when I started buying my first properties. I bought 3 in one go, as you do. But that was a turning point for me. So that before that, 2003, started delving into property networking groups. 2004 made my first transaction, never looked back, you know, and it was great, amazing.
Talk about that though. Let me talk about that, because when I was 21, I was also networking rooms. I was going to all these different types of meetings and events. Actually, before I was 21, I was actually super young. And you're right, it wasn't cool. Like now, I feel like being an entrepreneur is kind of cool. Now I see like a lot of 19, 20-year-olds going to networking events, or at least talking about it on social media. When I started, it wasn't cool. I can only imagine how much uncooler it was when you started. I didn't know you were 38. You look like my age. I was thinking you probably were 29. So
like makeup does. Thank you very much.
but you were back in those days. I don't know. Maybe you're probably talking like what, 2004 or something when you.
Yeah, 2003, 2004 when I started. I knew nothing about these kind of amazing networking groups. Yeah, it was like an old boys club, honestly. And I've been used to being in the. I've always been in a male industry, and that's why as a female, I want to encourage more female entrepreneurs. I want to encourage, well, anyone young really, but I was fully not like fitting in because I was the youngest person, stuck out like a sore thumb, and a female, and 99% of that room was male, maybe 1 or 2 dotted wives, but that was it, you know. So it's I wasn't intimidated because I was just naturally like that, but I feel like I'm so glad now entrepreneurialism is so much cooler, and you're very, very right in saying that, because it is. And people like you are helping others young, like your age and younger, to find that kind of excitement about it.
Yeah, and people like you, I mean, as a woman as well, it's great to see successful women that have done very, very well. Not only not hiding away, but the opposite. I see you putting yourself out there continually on social media, inspiring men and women of a lot of different ages. But I think it's a really admirable thing to do. I mean, when you got started, did you have funds from somewhere? Did you use savings? How did you get started at such a young age?
Okay, so quick answer, no one gave me money, except when I started networking, I started learning that you can get bridging finance, that you can get other people's money too. So when I started, I was earning through the optician job. So I was making about 9K a month, working 7 days a week, like commission sales, whatever. I was a good closer, and that's something I learned when I was 16. So I feel like if anyone wants to do property and do it well, you need to be a good closer, because you're negotiating with, you know, vendors of a property. I was doing this typical B&B thing. So my first knowledge into property, it was quite interesting because I knew none of this normal stuff. I went straight into BMV is the only way you should buy. And that really helped me because I was like below market value. If anyone, I'm sure you got, your audience knows, but yeah, so I always bought cheap properties. I never bought market value. If I ever went into an estate agent, I'll be hanging out with the actual agents, not the owner, because I know the owner is never going to give me stuff, but I would make friends with the guys that were getting paid on commission and pay them the commission for full price, but get me the lower price. So I was very good at negotiating a deal. So simply when it came to it, my earnings paid for conveyancing fees. That was it. And I got everything done through back to back. So at the time you could do bridging and mortgage express back to back. So
we know those days. That's how when I started, I came right at the very tail end of that.
Oh, wow.
2008.
Did you enjoy any of that? Because that was super.
I did. One house. I got one house, which was by refinance same day mortgage, and then boom, they changed the rules. So
yeah,
I can see how you starting quite a few years before that with the mindset that you've got and the drive that you've got, using that creative strategy. I can see how you killed it in 2004, 2005.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to do something like that, I found it easy because I loved it. You know, like I thought, oh my God, where else can you make 30K on one deal per property? And that's pure tax-free cash because it was a debt from a mortgage, but you were positive cash flow. So it was amazing. The tax man couldn't touch your earnings. It was all above board. It was amazing. But one thing that was difficult, and I feel that most people, when I ever talk to them casually about, okay, this is how you buy cheap properties, they can't understand how much marketing is involved. Like I had paper leaflets I had a team doing paper leaflet drops, and it's not easy to do that. To find the deal, that's the hard bit. The negotiation is, you've got to have a personality that can close. So I guess there is a lot of skill set, but I found it because I started in sales at 16. By the age of 22, I was pretty good, you know. So I'm like, you've dealt with the rejection, you've dealt with the hate, you've dealt with people not liking you. And I feel like another piece of advice for your audience, if they are young, one challenge I massively had was that many people didn't take me seriously as a vet. Like if I was going into a vendor's house, they never thought, she can buy my house. Like how the hell does that work? Like she's like half my age. Some of them hate that. Sometimes I had to pretend, oh yeah, I'm using my dad's money, or this is my dad's house, I'm collecting the rent. Like they wouldn't take me seriously, and it was quite annoying. Yeah.
Why is that? Because you're young, or because you're a woman, or both?
I would say both. Definitely female, because there's not many of them of doing that at that time. I'm sure now it's changing massively, and I like that. But
because of you, it's changing massively because you're inspiring people to do different things. So
yeah.
And honestly, I'll say that not lightly, because I really believe that there's not that many people killing it in business and
showing
stuff out there and showing other people the way. There's not that many people, and those few people that are doing that, like Gary Vaynerchuk, has single-handedly changed the way people do business. So respect Gary Vaynerchuk. Yes. I'm changing the way people do property. You're changing the way people see the financial market and Forex and trading. So I don't mean to kind of like sound like I'm being arrogant or anything like that. But I know that we also, people like us that put our heads above the parapet, we do upset people. You know, we do get people saying, and people say this about you. I've seen, she got lucky because in 2004, the Mortgage Express and this, but it's like, hold on a minute. Hither Mann got lucky in property, then she got lucky in Forex, then she got lucky by having a really successful training company. How many times can you keep getting lucky? It's not about getting lucky. It's about looking behind the head right now and seeing what we both got behind us. We've got loads of books.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
that's not staged. I didn't intend on being in this room. I was supposed to be in another room, and then I moved because my computer was being funny. But I'm continually learning, educating myself. What about you? Talk to me about some of the people that maybe inspired you, the authors, the trainers. I'm sure it goes without saying that you would have had a lot of mentors and you would have spent a lot of money in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that's why I love doing what I do at Fortune Academy, because I felt like I wanted to be the change that, instead of complaining about, oh, there's not enough women, there's not enough young people, especially for me, I guess I'm a mini feminist. I feel like I have to pretend, I can't pretend I'm not, basically. I have loads of guys, like my audience is 70% male, as in my students, my traders, my business clients, but I am getting more and more women. So what it comes down to is, mentors. So in terms of books, funny enough, when it came to property, I read every single one of Donald Trump's books. I've still got them. They're at the back. The guy was a legend when it came to closing a deal and like dealing with hate. It was the first time I saw in a book that he was open about the amount of hate he got. And he said, if I'm not getting sued every month, every week, then there's something wrong. Like, I had never read that in a book, that it was okay to get that kind of hate and be like, F it, I don't give a damn, you know? So I found that a little bit like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, whatever. So it was a first little bit of insight for me to understand that hate does come with success. I never had that much at the beginning, as you normally do, but you do get a lot of problems coming up in the future when people just don't like you being rich and they want to try and get in your way or sabotage something. But in terms of other authors, I did the normal stuff like Robert Kiyosaki. In terms of the actual physical mentors I had, I actually learned a lot from Palmdeep Vadesha, who's actually gotten quite quiet now. So he was a guy who taught me all the BNB stuff. There was people like Hanif. There's another guy called Vanish. There are people from London, but I went to the London property networking groups. I went to Berkshire property networking groups and Birmingham, all the PIN stuff. Before some of the big players came out now, I guess we all started at the same time. You know, I feel like
all these guys you're talking about, I know all these guys. I remember.
Yeah, amazing.
This happening. So, so why did you then go into? Because this is kind of why I wanted you on the show. Well, why did you then go from property, which you did very, very well, making good money from it, to then you went into trading? Talk to me about trading and talk to me about the pros and cons. Property, we can even argue about this.
Yeah, I love this conversation. Honestly, I love it because I have all my property portfolio. They pay me amazing passive income every month. Like, it's great. But the turning point came from this. So I'm going to go back to 2008 when the crash happened. To be honest, by this point in my life, I was working 18 hours a day because even though I had money, it doesn't mean I just got lazy. I actually was constantly, I was picking up rent in cash at 11 o'clock at night. Like, that was the kind of person I was hustling all the time. I loved it. Like, I just enjoyed the game, I guess. And I bought a lot of my property in an area that I was living around. So it wasn't as scattered as I have got more now in places I've never been to. But at that time I was quite traditional. 2 postcodes, I went crazy. You know, it's like I knew the area, everyone knew me, and I knew what properties I wanted to buy. So I was burnt out. I'll be very honest. I got to a point where tenants started taking the piss a little bit. So this is a problem I had. I didn't do much commercial. Maybe that was a mistake. I did more residential. In fact, most of my properties are still residential now. And so what I was finding is that I was doing HMOs. Most of them were HMOs, students of universities. They were high maintenance. Like, there would be a woman call, and I used to manage them myself. So if you imagine your phone ringing, oh, there's ants in the house, like, piss off. Like, sometimes I would get angry and be like, I'm not your mom, like, fix it. So I used to get a little bit pissed off with, well, not a little bit, massively pissed off. And I used to find myself getting really angry really quick. And I was getting burnt out, unhappy, had a really shit relationship. So my life was pretty much going down. So I had lots of money, but I didn't have enough headspace to clear my actual mind as well. So what actually happened in 2008, I felt like it was a blessing in disguise. I would never have stopped. I would never have stopped property or hustling the way I did. The fact that market crashed and there were no more mortgages come in and Mortgage Express stopped and everything else just became like, no, for 8 months, I was just doing nothing, enjoying life, you know. And then I walked into my office one day and it was just me and my mortgage broker that were in the office, 2-man team, you know, the rest was outsourced. And at that time, he was on a laptop, because can you imagine a mortgage broker? They're struggling. They're not making any money on mortgages. I was his major client. So at this point, he had found something new and he started playing on this chart thing. I'd never seen a financial chart in my life. I had no interest in Bloomberg. I hated politics, which I still do. I didn't like economy. I thought these people will bore the hell out of me. But he was on a chart and I said, what are you doing? Like, he was all dressed up. I was like, why are you dressed up? No one's talking to you. So, and he was he said, this is the world of Forex. I was like, okay, I kind of think I know what you're talking about. He said, currency markets. I was like, sure, tell me the good stuff. How much money you're making? And at the time, 10:30 in the morning, he was making £880 from a 10 grand account. And I was like, that looks easy, you know, like, you're just sitting there and you're not speaking to anyone. So for me, the very naive thinking was, okay, you don't have to speak to anyone in the world. I could be anywhere and I can make money from my laptop. I'm in, you know? And that was what made me feel like, wow, I can actually work on me. I went on 13 holidays. It wasn't a simple case of me just learning it and instantly making money. I lost a lot of money before I got a proper mentor. But the whole obsession with time, buying back my time, was everything I wanted, because I was stuck in an area called Coventry, which I'm sure you know of.
I know very well.
Okay, fine. So Coventry was where I've got a lot of my houses, and I love that place for the whole entrepreneurial spirit. Like, there's a lot of big money thinking people there. I feel like you can make money there because it's cheap houses, good yields, amazing, you know. So I never left that place for ages, for almost 7 years of my life. I can't remember. Okay, so by this point, I was at least 2008, I think 27, 26, 27. I didn't go on a proper holiday. So I was like, okay, I've got all this money. I'm in a shit relationship. I feel shit. And I've never seen the world. What am I doing with my life? You know, I was kind of like a midlife crisis, accelerated. So yeah, financial trading gave me that space. Eventually, when I started making the money I made, let's say 9 grand a month was what I was making as a optician, 7 times a week, working 7 days. I made 9K in 2 hours on trading. That was a shift in my head. I was thinking, how the hell do I used to think money was something you've got to exchange a lot of time for. Now I've just made it casually sitting in a coffee club in my sports center, like in my tennis club type thing. And I've just made it in the morning, and I'm thinking, shit, this is stuff that I wish I knew earlier. So that was what made me obsessed with it. It opened my eyes to the whole world. My property business, then I outsourced. I got people to manage it. I wouldn't have had that if I didn't know something else existed, which is why I love it so much. I don't know which one I'd do first, I'll be honest. I think property taught me a lot. But yeah, give me the argument. I mean, of pros and cons.
To be honest, I mean, I wouldn't really argue with anything you've said. I mean, my philosophy is do what you know. And I think you're successful not because you hit lucky with Forex or with property. Listen, you could do anything and you could set up a hairdressing salon and you'd kill it and become a millionaire.
Yeah. It's
like, so from my perspective, I think that I love property, okay? I'm obsessed with property, but property is a vehicle to achieve financial freedom. And I would be naive to say that there's not other vehicles that can do that too. So, you know, business and trading and, you know, friggin', I don't know, Amazon drop shipping. I don't really know that much about it, but I can't deny that, yeah, sure, it's a thing. People are doing it. People are making money at it. I've got friends that are doing it. So whilst this is a property channel primarily, and I know you started out and made a lot of money in property, I think my audience, you know, I do get people asking me about things like Forex and people dabbling. So I guess I really just wanted to get you on to talk a little bit about what the heck it is and how it works and how to go about making money in trading. So firstly, what is Forex? Like, how is it even a thing? What does it mean?
So it's such an simple industry, right? The industry is something we've all been in. So for example, when you go on holiday, you're using one currency. When you're at home and then you go to another one, you automatically, if you use the same bank card, your bank is transferring the currency for you. If you take cash out and then you change it in the old fashioned way, you go to a exchange desk, you get cash for another currency. Now, let's imagine you had £1,000 sterling. You go to somewhere like New York, you convert it before you go to dollars, right? Let's, for argument's sake, let's say you get like $1,200. Then you don't use the cash because it was like the emergency fund. Then you use your card everywhere, and then you come back and you're like, okay, same cash point, same exchange person. Let me change it back to my pound sterling. Do we get the same money back? No, because the point is either is you can get more back if the currency is in your favor, or you can get less because it's changed against you. Plus, there's a bit of commission gone to the person that's exchanging the money. So that's the industry in a nutshell. It's literally one currency versus another. You can make money whether it's going up, down, recession-proof. Like, I learned Forex in the last recession, 2008. Now, we can argue that 2020 is going to be like tipping point for the next one. I feel like I'm very excited. Like, this is I thrive in a recession period because I feel there's more opportunity. So I feel that Forex is the simplest industry in the world to understand. The risk is people take the piss with it. Like, they literally just gamble instead of thinking, how should I trade? And that's why I love property people. When I ask my traders when they come in, have you done property before? If they say yes, I feel like they'll be a better trader, which is why I feel your audience, if they respect property the way you teach them, property is an asset. Like, you know, you wouldn't just flip it and next day you sell it. You know, you nurture it, you kind of create value, and then you don't just abuse it. You don't gamble on bricks and mortar. If you have that same kind of attitude with Forex, you make money. You really do. It's the people that I feel haven't done any property. They're more likely to take the piss a bit more. That's where I feel like the young people really do take the piss.
Right.
Because,
When you say take the piss, you just mean they don't get it. They just think it's just get rich quick.
yeah.
Press a few buttons on a screen. I'm going to make millions of pounds. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not. No business is like that.
And they
knowledge and persistence.
And the worst thing I ever hear, like young people say, and this is anyone 25 and under, so maybe some of your audience again, they try and make like 100% a month, and they try and start with £100 account, and they like try and grow this thing to become monumental. So the way I'm fixing that problem is, okay, stop trying to get rich quick. Second, you need money. Just like in property, you need money. But how did I do well in property? I use other people's money. So I'm telling them, I'll put the money in. What's in it for me? We'll split the profits. So that's what's making me really excited about teaching traders, because I'm getting them to become an asset. They're my asset. I teach them how to trade properly, no get rich quick thinking. And then if I feel like they're really good and they've proven a track record, I'll put the money in, we split the profits. And that's like another property for me. Like they're creating rent for me every month. I've got like cash. So it's a simple model. I've used my property head into Fortune Academy and put financial trading.
So basically, you teach people how to invest in Forex. They then invest in Forex. They get the skills, and when they start getting good at it, you then sometimes will give them your personal money. They'll invest your money. They'll do all the work and make it happen, and then you'll split the profits.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very similar to property in terms of that's kind of like what I do. I teach people how to invest in property. I mean, not always. Like last year, 2019. I gave over £1 million of my own money to people to invest in property. Just said, I just want to slice the pie, you know. Wow. So it's kind of, and it's funny because sometimes people say, oh my gosh, you know, Samuel's teaching people to learn about property, and then he's making money off the back of them by then. And it's like, hold on, no. I'm teaching them, and then I'm then giving them money. And I'm taking it. Of course, I'm winning, and that's okay. But they're winning too. Everyone around me is winning. I don't hang around losers. Everyone's winning in my circles, and I'm winning as well.
Of course, it's a joint venture. Is what makes people know that you're invested in their training. Otherwise, I'd just teach them shit and be like, yeah, I'll just charge you for the education, and then see you later. Whereas I'm actually wanting them to have funds from me, because the aim is that's more valuable to me, because they're going to be a cash cow for me. And that's a model. Obviously, the people I would say no to are the ones who have just got really bad discipline. There's going to be a caveat that I say, no, I'm not going to give you the money, because if I feel they don't have the discipline, they don't follow rules, they're just going to burn my money. So I wouldn't want that to happen. So very simple. I feel like financial trading is perfect for people who've done property, because they've got the right thinking, investor mindset. I just feel like it's easy for them.
What would you say some of the biggest like successes in Forex you've had? Some real wins, some real like, oh yes, some victories, some big achievements that you've had that you're really proud of?
So for financial trading, for me personally, like when I started making like $9,000 every 2 hours, and I think the first time I made 84 grand in a week, I was like, shit, this is like stuff I was excited about when I was young, about making a year or something, you know, and I used to make that in a week. So I was very excited when I got those kind of figures. After that, I'll be honest, the more money you make, I've become a lot safer. So what I've found myself doing, before I used to take a lot of risk, and yeah, you can make quite a lot of money when you take a risk, but you can also lose. So I don't want to encourage people to think everyone can make, you know, 84K a week and stuff like that. It depends how much money you've got in there, how much risk. So, but it is possible. It is possible, because we've got that. The most important thing is, and I treat myself like a trading coach, just like you would a football coach. My favorite football manager is there. I think you can see it just about, Alex Ferguson.
Yeah. Great guy.
Like a legend for me. Like I think the guy's a legend. So, and I always think if you're going to invest in me as a trader coach, then see what I've created as a result. Like that guy created number 7 shirts all the time, and he created everything. Like any player that worked with him was usually pretty world class. And I'm quite proud to say that I've created that in students. So for example, one of my traders, Chris, architect, never done Forex before. After trading and fumbling about in the past, he came to me, and 92% in 5 months. I'm not saying everyone can do that, but that's one of our most solid results, and he's meticulous in his detail. We've had other people done like 20% in 5 months, others have done 53 in 12 months. So like it varies. It's down to your personality, your risk profile, whatever. So I'm actually more proud nowadays of the kind of results I create in others, because I'm actively bringing in really high level clients that become traders, whether they've got businesses beforehand, and or they're property owners. You know, they're not even business owners, they're just their own property. So that's the kind of people I love. I also do business coaching, but that's a whole different thing. Those people make a lot of money too.
Yeah. What kind of people would you say are not cut out for this? Like, are there some people where you just like, you know what, this is really not for you, continue doing what you're doing?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, my policy at Fortune Academy, and I teach all my team this, is to say no as soon as we have the red light like come up, a red flag in the conversation. We interview anyone who comes on our top level. So the red lights are people who haven't, okay, if you're 21 and you've never worked a fucking day in your life, I am pissed off. Like, there are 21-year-olds that come to me and say, I want to be really wealthy. I'm like, why? Because I just want to help my parents. I'm like, okay, you're 21. Have you got a job? They're like, no, I've tried everywhere. I haven't got one. Bullshit. 16 till 21, haven't got any money to pay for your family. I don't believe you. So those kind of people, I don't believe. When they say, I want to help my parents, you've had 5 fucking years to do something and you've done fuck all. I don't believe you. Like, go back, get a job, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, whatever. Like, there are jobs, Deliveroo, then come back to me. I hate the young mindset, and their work ethic is really shit. The people other people I would say no to, I guess we've had some people who constantly complain. I don't know. I think that's my biggest no. The young people who live at their parents' house still and pretend like they want to do amazing things but haven't got a job. They're my biggest no. So,
yeah. No. And they'll probably hate you for saying that, but then in a few years they'll realize that you are absolutely correct.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they hate me.
Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And you as a trainer as well might be able to relate to that, because if you take someone on board who's young and broke, who's got a broke mindset, who's never worked a job but they want to get really rich, if you say to them, no, you can't because you're young and broke and you've got the wrong mindset, go work in Tesco and come back to me in 2 years, then then they'll say you're discriminating against them because they haven't got a job. And then if you take them, they're going to fail, and then they're going to blame you that they failed. So it's like, it's best. I'd rather them just say Samuel's an asshole and he didn't have me on his training. I'd probably rather that than them just be a loser and bring my stats down.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other person I just was thinking of, exactly that. I mean, if they haven't, I forgot the other criteria, but I'll come back to me. But there are some
big publications I've noticed as well. You've been on some pretty big, I've seen you in some big magazines and in articles and things. Talk to me a little bit about some of that.
Oh, okay. So I've had good and bad. So like the good stuff is just, you know, like I've got one coming out soon, the Forbes, because I'm a peak performance coach for Credit Suisse. So that's like the bank and the bankers, and the head of Credit Suisse pays me to coach their team because they know that I'm cutthroat. They're like, yeah, she makes people fix their mindset. They make more money as a result. So a team of 12 traders, for example, I got them to 1 billion mark in their trading. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it came down to the simple stuff. I mean, I'm sure if I put you in front of them, you would also help them in the same way. You'd be surprised how many people in a 9 to 5, which is what bankers are, 9 to 5, they are thinking so like an employee and not like an entrepreneur, and making them have that shift of like getting their shit together, basically. That's all it takes for them to suddenly start making more money, which I love. And I found that really easy to do. I think I've just always had that. And then the other part, so I've had publications where, gosh, I don't even keep a tab on. You know what? I don't get excited by publications because I feel like if they make you, they can also break you, etc. So I don't give a shit, really. I've been on front pages of Monaco luxury magazines where that was a big one for me because they actually asked me to be on the cover. And I was like, wow, that's nice. Everyone in there is a fucking billionaire. Like the people who read that stuff. That's why I did it, because I wanted to get into that billionaire network. Because what I'm doing, and I've moved to South of France now and Monaco, is that I just want to hang around with these people because my network and what I'm doing with my company acquisitions is that's what's my next goal, like to take companies public. Those are the kind of people I need to be around. So just like in property, I had my mentors and I was always around the great, you know, the mindset. Now I'm around these. So those are the kind of publications I guess I'm aware of. Then you get the ones that are like, okay, just blog sites and whatever. I find that that's just commonplace. In something like financial trading and education, you're going to get tainted with a lot of red paint. Okay, you're a scam because I don't even know what. Most of them, actually, I'll be very honest, most of them try and extort you for money. If you ring them up, and we've had my team ring up the people that have blocked for us, they actually say, yeah, if that's not right, we're so sorry, but it's going to cost you this much, because they know they're fucking assholes and they can just do that. We live in a world where Google ranks negative over positive. So fucking anyone can write something. And I just don't give a shit anymore, I suppose. But, and the other thing that they say, and I guess there is a little bit of truth in that, is that I don't put many assets in my name, but I teach this in my wealth protection sort of training that I give, because I learned being really naive. I was very like straightforward when I grew up, like in my 20s. I wanted everything in my name, like all these houses, they're mine, like, yeah, it feels good. But then I learned the hard way. And another reason why I left property, there are so many drug dealers in property. It was me buying the houses and the fucking drug dealers buying the houses. That was how we knew each other, because he was buying one street and I was buying the other street. Like, they are commonplace in Coventry. Like, the guys who are buying big property cash or like buying a whole fleet of houses are either drug dealers or they were like me doing back-to-back auctions or something. So I came across a lot of that, and then I became a target. Another thing, a bit of an advice for young females, if anyone's watching, is if you're young and you're loud and flashy. I had a chrome Aston Martin. Like, I was taking the piss a little bit. I was a bit naive, typical young money, loud, new money. And I got attempted extortion by people in that area. So that was when the police got involved, and I got, I had like a police escort of 3 vehicles take me to my house. I had to move my house. I was pretty naive, put it that way. I had everything on my name. Everyone knew where I lived. My cars were super flashy. All had these private plates on that were like over the top. Like, everyone knew me. Even if they didn't know me personally, they knew of me. It was quite like dumb, I would say. And that was my biggest lesson when it comes to being wealthy. There is a point where you can be okay wealthy and it's not, no one's going to care. But when you start showing you've got loads of wealth and you're female, and I was single at the time, you become a super target. Like, I got literally people putting notes in my door, in my house, through the gate, whatever, saying, if you don't give us 50K, we'll come and we'll find you, or this. And it was just stupid. And so I had to take things off my name. Then my best friend tried to sue me because we were in a property deal together. I'm obviously, this is my house, it was my name. And he kept all the rent, and then he took some money from a loan shark. It's crazy shit that happens in property, you know, and he gets in trouble with the loan shark guys because he couldn't afford his debts. So he sends them to me. He's like, oh, she's got the money. I'm like, fuck's sake. And then took him to—
The thing is though, Hither, you're right, and more money does create more problems. There is truth in that, and you're always going to have problems. It's a different type of problem, and we're not taught how to handle being well-known and how to handle being very wealthy. But I think the thing is, that's why so many wealthy people just hide away. That's what, I mean, I thought this. I remember thinking, you know, beginning of this year when I was getting loads and loads of nonsense being said by the media and online. And I just thought, is it really worth it? Like, I don't need to do this. I could, but then I suddenly remembered, hold on. When I first started in business, I always vowed and knew that I was going to be open. I was going to share. I was going to teach. So I think what you've done is smart. You've continued to teach. You've continued to put yourself out there, but just not in a flashy way. I deliberately wear cheap t-shirts. I don't have bling bling. I have no jewelry. You know, I keep it real basic. I don't keep any fancy stuff in my house. If someone robbed me, they'd be very disappointed. They'd just have a whole bunch of Next t-shirts. You know, but then I do have wealth and take nice holidays and live a very good life and have everything that I want. And I think it's just about being kind of, as well, when you become very, very successful, very young, like you were 25, same as me, I think, you know, you're going to have some serious lessons, and it matures you a bit, and you know, you've got to kind of, you do mature a bit through it. So you're probably a different person now to what you were 10 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I did martial arts for 17 years, so I was pretty tough anyway, mentally. I don't know about physically I was tough too. But I mean, the point is, you can still be flashy and whatever, I think now, but I just have no assets on my name, and that's legally allowed. I mean, I learned this from billionaires. I didn't get this information from accountants and people like that. They are not wealthy enough to know what to do. So when I've learned, I asked the billionaire guys, like, what are you doing? I use the same, sometimes in events, I know you do events as well, in you know, physical events. I had to use security, and I use the same guy that looks after Roman Abramovich. You know, it's stupid stuff like that, but it's so needed, because that's peace of mind, knowing that, okay, like, I know I've been a target, so fuck it. I just put the things in place that will make me not a target. Now I can live my life happily. So I'm very careful, but I teach people now. I actually teach this stuff through my business coaching program, because I'm like, I want to make you guys filthy rich. I've got one of my students making 100K a month after 18 months with me, and she started off at 20. You know, that's a big growth in 18 months. Now she's aiming for 200. But for someone like her, I teach her how to protect her money from divorce, from bankruptcy. You know, just imagine all your hard work goes to pot because, I don't know, either your partner screws you over or something like that. That's another issue people deal with. And I want them to, I don't only just want them to make money, I want to help them protect their money legally. And that's what I've done. And I teach exactly that. So I'm trying to be really transparent. A normal layman will get really pissed off and think, you know, a 9-to-5 person will think it's got to be something shady. There's no companies in our name. But that's what people will do when they're super wealthy, you know.
I mean, I take people at face value anyway. I'm not, you know what? I mean, some people are trying to, and I think due diligence is important, but for me, I'll just listen to someone, and if I can get good value from it, then I'll apply it. If I can't, I won't apply it. I don't get too hung up on trying to figure out, delve into people's businesses and stuff. For me, I hear what you're saying. I can hear what you're saying is good and makes sense. So I'll just chew the meat, and if there's bones, I'll spit them out, and then I'll get on with my own life.
Yeah, everyone's...
Be a student of many, but a blind follower of none. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people, you know, are looking for, who shall I blindly just follow? Who's the guru that I can just no. Just be a student of many people and just pull what you can from different people. No one's perfect. Everyone's human. What's your strongest reason why? Why are you really doing this? Like, what gets you up in the morning and what pulls you towards, you know, continuing?
I love that question. I guess it all happened in 2008 when I had a bit of that soul searching time, and I thought, well, what the hell is life? You know, like, it's clearly money doesn't do it for just me. Like, making money just for me felt really boring. Like, I thought, well, how much more do I need? I'm not a very high maintenance person. I don't spend too much and stuff like that. So if you just do stuff for you and family, at a certain point, you've done enough. You know, you feel like, yeah, everyone's cool. Everyone's happy. They've got enough money. But then you need some constant growth. And I actually used to have a lot of life coaching. And I had a question and asked to me, like, what happened? What's the legacy you want to leave? And I feel like you can't take the money with you when you die. No one can. You know, but you can only, I look at historical people. I've got books here about, you know, all the amazing speeches from the world, and you've got Martin Luther King, you've got Nelson Mandela now. I used to look at all these amazing people, leaders of the past, and no one actually cares about the money. They care about what meaning they gave or what legacy they left. And I guess Fortune Academy is that for me. It's a legacy builder. For me, that's what I don't even focus on the negatives. I mean, there's always going to happen, but I love my community I've got at Fortune Academy. We call it the Fortune family, and it's so amazing. It's so like, you know, I love helping people. So that's something that money can't buy in the long run, like that, the effect. So even if they're with you for an acute period of time and you've helped them, but forever their life has changed because of what you said. That's what I want to do. And that's really the only reason I love doing the Fortune Academy. So I don't think I'm ever going to stop that.
That's awesome, Heather. If someone was thinking, okay, I'm interested in learning about Forex, I want to do that alongside property or instead of property, and they wanted to kind of get the crux of it. Like, I have something called the Property Investors Crash Course, and that's kind of like, look, that's the foundational thing. Come through that, and by the end of that program, you're going to know if property is for you or not. You're going to have all the basics, and then there are opportunities for some people to go on and do further training if they want, or they cannot. Like, do you have an equivalent for that, but for Forex, where people can kind of get a training and understanding of what Forex is that they can go through? I don't know. Like, what's your sort of, how do you help people on that front?
Yeah, I love it. Only this year, at the beginning of this year, great timing because of COVID, we started doing an online course for financial trading. So I have 3 tiers of training. So I always think, what's the easiest way to gain trust in this industry? It's like the most badly, like, most people fail because they don't know what they're doing. Like I said, they don't understand risk management. So I wanted to give them the best solid crash course, I guess. Yeah, you can put it. It's called Fast Track Forex, and that's where I get everyone to start. It's got a 30-day money back guarantee. Like, we're so solid on that. We just know you will love this when you try it. Like, I know that there is no way you can't make money if you follow the steps. It's black and white. So we've got that, and that's like, you know, I even say in there, like, this is not the end. This is like the beginning. If you guys like this, it's a day trading strategy, so they can make money every day, or in one day they'll see this thing work. That's how powerful it is, and it's so much easier.
What do you mean by work? So in one day, you mean they'll actually be able to make money?
Yeah. So they can put money
in one day.
In 1 hour of implementing this thing. This is what
hang on. So in one day, they'll actually be able to make money, and there's a 30-day money back guarantee.
Yes.
That's good. That's impressive stuff. I mean, I'm gonna have to sign up and see if
I would 100% put that challenge to you. I am that confident that if you follow that system, and I know you would read and follow it all, there's videos, there's like everything is like lifetime access to the course. Like it doesn't disappear. You've got it for life.
Do you get like everything, all the platform you need to do your trades, the software, all that stuff?
Everything. So the free software, we're not a broker, so I don't get involved. I teach you guys how to pick a broker. We don't manage people's money. So we make a very clear disclaimer that we're not. There's a lot of people that impersonate me and Fortune Academy, and they take people's money and manage it. Bad stuff. So I make it very clear. Look, you guys are in control. It's your money. It's in your account. Never give it to anyone else to manage. Okay. So that's something I'm very clear about in financial trading. So yeah, follow the step. It's 8 hours crash course. You follow it. As soon as you go live, you can make money in one day. Like I would be very surprised if people don't. Like if that system, I see.
How much money do you need to put into the system? How much money do you need to start?
That is nothing to do with me, because it's actually down to the broker. I know brokers allow £100, $100, whatever, upwards, maybe sometimes 200, but it's not much. But you know, it's not going to be a life-changing amount. But I'm just saying, to start up, it's dead easy.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you only have to make £1, and once you've seen it working, it's then a case of, right, how can I scale this? How can I grow this? And I think that's the thing, that most people don't make any money, you know. Oh, I'm dabbling in this. Well, hang on, how much money do you actually make? Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but once you've done it, once you've seen it work, that's why I say to people in property, get one property, see the money coming in, and then you can start scaling it. So, okay, so 30 days, I'll put a link, by the way, I'll put a link in the, on the YouTube description to this. And honestly, I'm tempted to even try it out. So it's 30-day money back guarantee, like a fast track to Forex.
Yeah.
If they're not happy with your training, they can, what are the big strings to that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, the refund policy is very strict. So it's very black and white. It's fair. It's saying, look, don't mix up any other trading bullshit that you've done in the past in my system. Like, keep it in my system. For example, if you were teaching someone how to do property and then they mixed up some other weird random strategy and they were like, oh, if I measured my return on investment, it was shit, because they did some other bad stuff. Whereas if they follow just your stuff, they're going to make money. So that's the same thing with me. Follow just my strategy. I will see you make money. Show me proof, because it's so easy to show proof. You can just download the history of a trading, and that's it. And if you don't make any profits in that time, I will give your money back.
And how much is it? 100%. How much? This is the big finale. How much?
Sometimes we have offers. I think the offer we're going to give on your link, it could be $497, I believe, for the webinar link. So we're going to actually give you free info. We don't even want you guys to just buy without knowing what you get. We want you to get an idea of what we're doing, if it works for you, what I'm looking for. For some people, it'll be like, okay, I want to get rich quick, and they won't go for it, because I really kill off get rich quick in my intro, basically. So if you guys have got the right mindset, this is going to work. It works for anyone, 100%, but you just have to have a bit of discipline.
So you can get money quick, but just not get rich quick.
Yes, you can make, when I say get rich quick, and I'm sure you'd agree, you can't, replace your income with Forex in one day, unless you've got at least 100K to put in your account. Then most people don't. So I'm thinking in a beginner's mindset where they just got a few hundred, then yeah, you have to take it in steps. But you can certainly I've got my traders are replacing their bills. Now they're taking the money from me, and so they're going to replace their monthly income. So yeah, we've had transitions massively of students.
So you're in the south of France, so it's all virtual training, it's all pre-recorded videos that go through at their own pace. It's $497, but before you take a penny, you want to put them on a webinar first so they can get to really explore what it is. Do that. If they do want to register, it's $497. They're going to go through it, and then if they've done everything and it's not worked out and it's terrible, they can get their money back within 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds fair. That sounds really fair. So awesome. So, okay, cool. Well, I'll put a link in the video. What were your final pieces of advice to someone watching this that just wants to be successful, that just wants to be able to say, everything Hither Mann touches seems to turn to gold. Everything Samuel Leeds touches seems to turn to gold. How can I get that success factor? Like, what would you advise? What would you say?
Always work on yourself 80% of the time. Like literally read, learn. Never stop learning, and learn about what makes your mind tick. I understand what makes you do the bad stuff in life. Limitations about money, about people, stuff that's holding you back. That is probably the most important things to work on. Once you've broken through those barriers, you're a limitless person. I feel like that is so achievable. You can touch anything and it turns to gold because you've worked on yourself, you've done the work. And I believe everyone who has got to that point, they love the learning process and they never stop. So that would be my advice.
That's great. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate your time. I hope you get some great people registering onto your webinar and checking that out. And listen, if you do register to the webinar, if you listen to this and you check it out, please message me, Samuel Leeds. Tell me how you got on. I'm really interested because I love to see people winning, if that's in property or if that's in business or if that's in something else. So Hither, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And maybe next time we'll do it in person, but it's difficult with COVID and you being in the south of France, me being in England. But I really appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate it. You would love it here. And, you know, you fly out here 1.5 hours, 2 hours. It's worth the trip. I've got sea in front of me, mountains there. I think in person should be out here next time. Who knows?
Or maybe I'll come out. Thanks so much, Hither.
Thanks so much. See you soon.
Bye.